The 5 most essential hot yoga poses for ultimate flexibility. In fact, I'm going to throw in 2 or 3 more poses just because I'm a nice guy. So let's jump right in. Number 1 is half moon pose, or at least our version of half moon pose. In the South, in Mysore, they have another pose that they call half moon. It looks like this. So our version of half moon pose is actually a standing pose. Interestingly enough, they didn't even call standing postures poses or asana until about 120 years ago. Before that, asana were the seated poses, because that's actually what the word means, or reclining poses, like cobra locust, full locust bow. When yogic asana became more athletic, they started to add standing postures, and they called them asana. But the first one we're talking about is half moon. Let's take a look at the half moon pose. Before we continue on, if you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, hit the notification bell, you get notified when I post a new video. If you're enjoying this video, smash the like button, it helps us boost us in the algorithm. You want to learn all about hot yoga, tutorials and flows, hit the subscribe button and the like button right now. Now our version of half moon is in 3 parts, to the right, to the left, and the backward bend. In fact, when you go to the right to the left, Bikram and Bishnu Ghosh used to call it Pars Ardha Chandrasana. Pars means side half moon. So Ardha's half, Chandra's moon. So Pars Ardha Chandrasana. The real half moon is the backward bend. And when we do hands to feet pose after half moon in the Bikram and the Barkan sequence, that's a different pose. That's a combination of poses. So we're just talking about half moon now. Bishnu Ghosh actually took this posture from a German exercise teacher named Mueller. You can see in this pose, he took in a variation of this particular position. So now when we do our position, let's talk about the grip. In the old days, when Bikram first brought this posture to the United States, this was our grip. It was a prayer grip, or Anjali Mudra. And then somewhere from the mid to late 1980s, he changed from this grip to this grip, the steeple grip, which is actually a lot easier. This is a lot more difficult position to do. You can see in the old days, this is the posture that we always did. However, one of Bishnu Ghosh's top students was a man named Buddha Bose, and he had this grip, and you can see in that picture. So what I did was I then went from here to here, and you can see in the video, when we're holding the wrist, we're actually getting an extension of the side body. We're actually exaggerating the extension of the side body. So here's Janice and Jamie. They're going over into the position using the grip, which I actually called from here to here. I called the traditional Calcutta grip. Then you can see in the back row, interlacing the fingers is really the traditional grip that's now in the Bikram world. It's known as traditional, but really this was traditional. So what's great about the half moon pose from the side, or Pars Ardha Chandrasana, it creates an extension of the side body. It's a great position to open up the body. As we go to the right, we're extending the left side body. The right side is compressed. It's a great way of extending that side body, something that's very unique to the yogic asana, the side stretch. And then when we get to the back bend, and this is what's very unusual in the traditional athletic world, unless you're a gymnast or a dancer, you're really not doing any type of back bends. We're taking the spine in the other direction. One of my teachers was Emmy Cleaves, and she always talked about that Western man has a C shape and woman too, because we're always in a forward position. Now we correct that, we counteract it by going backwards, and in the back bend, not only we're creating a range of motion for our spine, which is really the key to the kingdom of health. That was the title of Buddha Bose's book. But why is it the key to the kingdom of health? Because we're keeping the spine healthy. As we go backwards, we're adding that range of motion to the side bends. This is really an amazing posture that you want to do on a daily basis. Now in the Bikram world, they heat the room. We do so in the Barkan world as well. However, if you don't have the room super, super hot, the half moon pose could be a dramatic position to do if you're cold or if the room isn't quite hot enough. That's why I implement in the Barkan method sun salutation before we even do half moon. So that's bringing us to the sort of 1A pose. It's not really the second pose yet. Sun salutation, which is how Bikram starts his advanced class. In the Barkan method, we come into a forward bend. Then we go back into chaturanga, which is a double push-up, honoring the Bikram Bishnu Ghosh chaturanga, and then we do upward dog, downward dog, and step up into our runner's lunge. This is a wonderful way of opening the body, especially if it's not super hot. So I added this into the beginning Barkan method flow because I believe it's really a traditional way of starting the yoga class. And that brings us to number 2, because really half moon and sun salutation right combined is number 1. Number 2, the Eagle pose, Garudasana. Bishnu Ghosh and Bikram were notorious for not properly pronouncing or translating the Sanskrit. Garuda was the legend. Look it up on the internet. Garuda was half human, half eagle. In fact, if you ever go to Indonesia, and I never knew this until I went to Australia, which is really close to Indonesia, Indonesian air is called Garuda air because they're honoring the eagle. Indonesia is a Hindu country. I believe that the eagle pose is one of the most essential warm-up poses that you do. I do it in every single class that I teach because we're getting the joints to open up. From the upper body, you got the shoulders, elbows, and wrists. From the lower body, the hip, knees, and ankles, especially the hips. As we open up all the joints at the same time, it's like putting WD-40 into the hinge. That's how we're creating range of motion. So before we even get into positions like standing head to knee, which is going to be the next pose, we need to get the joints opening first. Moving on to posture number 3, which I consider to be one of the most, if not the most, iconic yoga postures in the hot yoga world, and that's standing head to knee. I've done many videos on it. Check out this one. Check out this one. Check out that one after you watch this video, and I get into detail. But what's great about standing head to knee is it combines flexibility and strength and balance at the same time. And what's unique about this pose, when you get to the full position, it's a curled, rounding rabbit spine. It's not a straight back position. So when we do postures like rabbit pose, standing separately head to knee on the floor, and standing head to knee, we're in a curled spine. So it's not just taking the spine in the other direction, we're going backwards, we're also coming forward, and that's going to create more range of motion, which is going to add to your future health. Which now brings us to posture number 4, another possibly or arguably just as iconic as standing head to knee, the standing bow, or Dandayamana Dhanurasana. I didn't give you the Sanskrit for standing head to knee. That was Dandayamana Janushirasana. Even though Bikram pronounces it Janushirasana, there's an SH in there. It's Shirsha is the head. So once again, mispronouncing the Sanskrit, but God bless him. Standing bow. It's a back bend. Standing bow. Let's talk about the 3 essential areas of the body that you have to have range of motion for to be successful in the position as we watch this pose. Number 1 is the back bend that happens automatically, which is 40% of the pose. You can see how the back bend is happening. Well, last thing you want to do is overarch the back, just let it happen naturally. Second is the extension of the shoulder that you're kicking with, that hand you're kicking with, the shoulder and the hip joint that releasing back behind you. That extension of the shoulder and the hip is 20% of the position. So what's the remaining 40%? And that's the hamstring of your standing leg. And the only way you're going to access that, and this is where Bikram and I are a little different, is you got to get that body down. Bikram does emphasize to get that body down, but he has people kicking too high. Watch this video and I talk all about it in detail. But you got to get the body down where the stomach's parallel to the floor to accent the remaining 40%. And that's the hamstring flexibility, and that brings 100% to the equation, and that's how you be successful in this position. Now, it's not all about the standing poses. Along to accompany the standing bow is the floor bow. Once again, adding that back bend range of motion. We're going to grab the feet from the outside, and as we kick up, you got to keep the knees in line with the hip joints. The head drops back. There's this amazing back bend that takes place. As we move the spine in the other direction, what a difference it's going to make for your future health. Bringing us to posture number 5, and that's the spine twist. In the Barkan method, we actually add a couple positions where we twist the spine. We do what they call belly twist, Jatara Parivartanasana. We also twist the spine in a revolving triangle. But in the spine twist, Ardha Matsyendrasana, named after the famous sage Matsyendranath, one of the founders of Hatha Yoga. And one of the things that's important in the Yoga Gasa, I was just talking about this today in class. In most of the positions that we do, we're not just moving in one direction. We got to find where the opposite direction is. Very important dynamic. So as we're twisting, let's say, to the right, we're pushing back on the top thigh to the left. We're twisting to the right, but pushing back against the top leg to the left. Or vice versa, when we twist to the left, we're pushing against the top leg to the right. As we create that opposite direction, the spine twist takes place. And what's so essential about this is that we're accessing hard to get to places in the body through the twisting of the spine, through the side body. What a wonderful stretch to add to your future health. And I know I said 5 postures or asana in this video, but I'm throwing a few more in as a bonus. The last one of the most essential positions is the final Shavasana. Once again, another word that Bikram mispronounces. It's not Savasana, it's Shavasana. There's an SH sound to it. Shavasana, or corpse pose, or dead man's pose. So here's the concept of Shavasana. You're laying still as if you're a corpse. So no movement at all from the outside body. So we're laying still. That's why when we come out of the standing poses and we come to the floor for the first time, it's the first Shavasana. I talk about it being the second most important moment of the class, because all this energy, the restriction or the contraction of the muscles in the standing poses and the release of that energy. And now when we're relaxing in Shavasana, we're letting go of that tension, just like Bikram used to say his favorite metaphor one of his favorite metaphors was the tourniquet. We're actually holding back the circulation from the area by contracting. And now when we release that contraction, like the water that holds back the dam, the blood and oxygen are now flowing into that target area. Now the ultimate Shakti pose of Shavasana, we're laying as still as we can, and by laying still on the outside, the exact opposite is happening on the inside. There's such a tremendous flow and rush, not just the blood and oxygen, which is really going to help to heal the physical body, but the prana shakti, the subtle energies are released inside the body to heal the ethereal body. This is what creates a holistic high, a holistic transformation, which is going to heal the physical, ethereal body, the key to the kingdom of health. And if you do happen to live longer, what kind of quality of life are you going to have? Through the constant movement, the range of motion, the shifting of the energy, especially the prana shakti into the body, what a difference it's going to make to transform your life and your body forever. So that's our episode for today. Thank you so much for watching. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing, hit the notification bell. If you enjoyed this video, hit the like button. You want to learn all about hot yoga and flows and tutorials and factoids, hit the like button and the subscribe button right now. And I will see you in the next video. Bye guys.